This is my favorite story
Yeah.
of the week. But Portugal the man has so pause. There's a borough of Matanuska Susitna, something like that, in Alaska.
So what are you trying to pronounce? Some random province in Canada?
Matanuska Susitna.
Susitna.
Let's go with that. They had a school board decision to remove 5 classic novels from the school's curriculum, including F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man, Joseph Heller's Catch-22, Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried, and Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It turns out that Portugal the man is also a resident of this obscure area of Alaska.
Interesting. I know he's in Alaska. I didn't know he was there.
Yeah. Portugal the man wrote that these tiles are often considered staples for junior and senior English classes across the country. We believe the decision is narrow-minded and unpatriotic, and we are not okay with it. That's why we're putting out a standing offer that if any student/parent in the Matsu School District wants a copy of one or more of these books, we'll mail them to you. Just reach out to sticksandstones@portugaltheman.com.
It's rough. As much as I actually I do like some of these books, especially Catch-22, I do like a lot. There's one, I think I brought this point up on Audioface before, where Freedom Fighter Gene was like, why?
This is from the Political Report episodes that we dropped recently. Those happen when they happen. We get good feedback from them. Check out the Political Report episodes.
Where I'm like, Freedom Fighter Gene, she goes, why are you guys reading the same shit I read in the 70s? Like, why don't you ever try to evolve or bring in different books? There are some I think that you should have as staples in general because they're very good on doing new on life, like Great Gatsby, Catch-22. I think are kind of solid for that, and then there's other ones that you could bring in into it. But it's just hilarious that they're like, nah, they're banned. Like, that's wild that they would do that.
Yeah,
because I'm like, there's nothing to me that is super that sticks out for me to get banned within those books. I haven't read all of them.
So the reason that was being given for banning them, the flyer said that The Great Gatsby had language and sexual references, rather than its like point about class structure and like the 1930s, like the Gilded
20s.
Age and the Roaring 20s, and like playing with that idea of like class differences.
Yes.
So like
that's the whole point. That's the entire point of The Great Gatsby.
Catch-22 features dialogue written with typical military men, misogyny, and racist attitudes of the time. But Catch-22 itself is like an entire satirical world being built to make fun of those things.
Yes,
making
they
fun
don't
of the
get the
military-industrial complex,
yes,
and also pointing out how the military mistreats its so-called heroes.
Yes,
and how this can happen in society. Gee, I wonder what similar things that could play on reality today. Caged Bird Sings for detailing Angelou's quote sexual abuse and anti-white messaging. Oh, I mean, sure. Maybe there's some anti-white messaging, and maybe there's some like talk about some sexual abuse, but that's because it's Maya Angelou's story, and also the story of many other women of color in America for reasons that's sustained. Like, what? It wasn't just called Matsunuka Setsuna area. Like, it's, oh my god.
Wow.
There are many more
That's
Americans.
Very close-minded.
There are many Americans who just prefer to brush history under the rug rather than confront the important bits of it.
Watch, looking back, we're going to ban 1984. Why? Because it's too much like today.
because it talks about the media lying, and we don't want to perpetuate that message.
It's like, well, what do you expect?
What was that? Hang on. To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, so back to that conversation. Like, there are certain books
to Kill a Mockingbird,
like that teach you things. Like, they allow people who live in a very removed time period to see both how things were written and what those writers are writing about. Because usually writers are writing about things they experienced in the past, too.
Correct.
So you can see a writer's view of their past and get that perspective in a really dense form.
Then,
There's no, we're like, and I'm part of this too, like we like videos and short things that are on the internet, but books have a lot of depth and they usually cover a lot of angles and a lot of bases. And I mean, the less we have people pay attention to those, it's probably going to be a...
The more people are on TikTok and reading books, the worse we go for humanity.